What planet are we living on? What planet are we living on? I mean, among the awful storylines that we read in the news and all that stuff, we use sports as an outlet to distract us from that stuff. We use sports as an outlet to, maybe let our minds be entertained and have a little bit of fun. And along the way, some teams are crap. Some teams are great. Some teams are just good. Great, good, and crap. And that falls in line with the teams that need head coaches in this offseason. Teams like the Cleveland Browns. Teams like the Carolina Panthers. Teams like the New York Giants. Those are the three teams that have head coaching vacancies now that Mike McCarthy has found a job. And in the midst of Dallas hiring Mike McCarthy, which I dove into earlier today, the Browns, Panthers, and Giants have set forth their schedules as to how they're going to go after head coaching candidates that are available, that are ready, willing, and able to take a job if offered to them and if, obviously, they like the fit. The person interviewing for the job has to like the job enough to accept it, and or the person or party holding the interview, in this case these NFL teams, have to like the candidate enough to bring that person in and hire that person as their next head coach of the franchise. Now, these are massive decisions. This is the most massive decision for any NFL team. When you're going out and you're looking for a head coach, you're looking for a head coach that can be a leader of men, a head coach that can dictate each meeting, the head coach that can demand the presence of his players, and can essentially be the boss of the entire thing. So when I look at some of the names that are out there, when I look at a guy like Jim Schwartz, who has been a very successful defensive coordinator, who had a head coaching stint in Detroit, didn't go his way, but when do they ever in Detroit, let's be honest. And he has been successful wherever he has been ever since. He's got a Super Bowl ring to prove it with the Philadelphia Eagles. I asked myself, why is this man not looked at as an adequate head coaching candidate? And guys like Brian Daboll, who have led bottom 10, bottom 15 offenses throughout the entirety of their offensive coordinator play calling career. And you have guys like Josh McDaniels, who literally, Josh McDaniels, let's dive into it right here, right now, the subject matter at hand, Josh McDaniels, a coach that literally decided to take a job and not take it, to take a job and back out. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you have a opportunity to hire a head coach and you are so interested in that guy, the Indianapolis Colts went hard in the paint. They went ham after Josh McDaniels last season, a season ago, and he decided to take it. He said, yep, I'm going to take this job. Then Josh McDaniels says, nah, I'm good. If I am another NFL team that knows damn well that I got the buffoon that is Freddie Kitchens as my head coach, I know that he's probably going to be fired within a year or two. And I decide that I want to, look at the list of candidates for the next head coach, the guy that I think could replace Freddie Kitchens, because the writing was on the wall for Freddie Kitchens. Let's be honest. The writing was on the wall, and Freddie Kitchens' back was to the wall. He didn't turn around and see the writing that was on the wall behind him. So Josh McDaniels is an option for these teams? Josh McDaniels is looked at as the top head coaching candidate per Adam Schefter, per Jay Glazer, per Chris Mortensen, all three of the biggest insiders within the game, as well as Ian Rappaport. So the four biggest insiders in the game, Schefter, Mortensen, Glazer, and Rappaport, all have come out and said that the top head coaching candidate in the eyes of the Panthers, Giants, and Browns is Josh McDaniels. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I know that this guy has plenty of hardware on his hands that say Super Bowl champions. This guy has been a head coach before and has fizzled out, flamed out. Left New England once before and flamed out in Denver, only to maybe get another head coaching job years later. Obviously, Bill Belichick, the same thing happened. He flamed out in Cleveland. Ultimately, I think it was a little bit of a premature fire, I should say. And that franchise is dysfunctional. Now Josh McDaniels is going to look at the options that he has and interview with Carolina, interview with Cleveland, interview with the Giants. And to me, if I am a head coach hopeful, if I'm trying to get my first head coaching job, I'm looking at which job is the most attractive, which job is looked at as one that has the most talent, the most camaraderie, the most functioning capability within that franchise. Sure as hell isn't Cleveland. I'll tell you that. Sure as hell isn't Cleveland. You have an owner that is a mess. You have a GM situation that is always in flux. And you have a quarterback that, let's just say, has an ego the size of Cleveland or of Oklahoma or of a 6th-round pick that was not a 6th-round pick. It's as if Baker Mayfield feels like he is a 6th-round pick when he was picked first overall. So I have a very tough time finding that rationale, and the reason that he has this chip on his shoulder is because he's short, he's small, he's been called up by guys like Colin Cowherd as a diva. And so far, he's proven Colin Cowherd right. I hate to say it, but it's true. So if I'm Josh McDaniels, I wouldn't take a job with Andrew Luck at the time as the starting quarterback. But I'll take a job with Cleveland. I'll take a job with Carolina, who has a huge quarterback influx situation. But you notice who I haven't mentioned yet out of these 3 teams. The best head coaching position available right now is the New York Giants. They have Daniel Jones, who is a stud. I like what I've seen so far from him. He's surpassed my expectations and then some. Shout out to Daniel Jones. You proved me wrong. You're doing your thing. You're a hell of a quarterback. You're mobile. You're agile. You're accurate. You're fun to watch, frankly. Then you have the bona fide superstar, future Hall of Famer, if all things go well, Saquon Barkley. This guy is one of the best running backs that I have ever seen in my life. This guy is that good. This guy is Walter Payton-esque, Emmitt Smith-esque, Adrian Peterson-esque, all wrapped into one. I mean, this guy is phenomenal. He is a true legend in the making. Then in Carolina, you do have another legend in the making at running back, and Christian McCaffrey. He's done something that only Marshall Faulk and Roger Craig did, have 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. I'd like to think Josh McDaniels could do a damn lot with that, if he's as good as he thinks he is. And I know he's had success, but to say that he's the top head coaching candidate, that really tells me one thing, and one thing only, one thing that I said earlier in today's segment about Mike McCarthy. I'll say it now about the head coaching candidate list. It is weak. It's not that great. And dare I say, is Josh McDaniels a coach that tries to find when he should jump off the ship? Is he indecisive? Is he a quitter? And I think I can point to a few instances and say that he is. He left the New England Patriots to take a better job, essentially quitting what was going on there. He leaves to take the head coaching job. Too soon, far before he was ready. Drafts Tim Tebow in the first round. I love Tim Tebow. The guy is an amazing guy, and frankly, I feel like he got a bad rap in the NFL, and the career didn't pan out the way that it should have. Even him being a backup on some teams wouldn't really be a problem, to me at least. But he wasn't a first-round pick, not in hindsight. And Josh McDaniels put every resource he had into overdrafting and overspending and turning Denver into somewhat of a shell of its former self. Enter John Elway, and Josh McDaniels went out the door. So he comes back to the Patriots. He quits on the Patriots again by leaving the Patriots to go take the job at Indy. Then he quits on Indy to go back to the Patriots to coach 42-year-old Tom Brady. Now there's uncertainty with Tom Brady. Now Josh McDaniels doesn't know whether or not Tom Brady is going to be a Patriot, and just not knowing is leading Josh McDaniels to have this uneasy moment where he's thinking, well, maybe I got to jump ship and go to a team with a younger quarterback. Is Carolina the best spot? Cam Newton? He's not what he once was. Cleveland, you got a quarterback that is a hothead and is frankly a jerk. A guy that is willing to throw his head coach under the bus. A guy that is willing to challenge the authority at any turn. And always has, dating back to his days in college and now. That was why I said 2 years ago that Baker Mayfield was the worst first overall pick ever. Because you really look at who was in that draft, it was one of the greatest quarterback classes in recent memory. You had the greatest running back in recent memory picked shortly thereafter in second overall, Saquon Barkley. You had the fourth pick as well. You could have took Saquon and then maybe Allen or Darnold or Mayfield even there. But to take Mayfield first overall, that was nuts. And I think that take will age like a fine wine. So far it has. So when I look at Josh McDaniels and I say to myself, why is he the number one head coaching candidate? He quit on the Colts, quit on the Patriots 2 times, and now he's just looking for the most cushiony job, the easiest job that he can find. I would be stunned, frankly, if he went to the Carolina Panthers because they have an uncertain quarterback situation. Whereas the Giants have something locked in. But the Giants' media market is so big, so massive, it can eat you alive. Can Josh McDaniels handle the pressure of the New York media? I don't think so. Can Josh McDaniels handle the fact that the Cleveland Browns recycle head coaches more than any human does plastic bottles? I mean, this is unreal. Obviously, that's an over-exaggeration. I guess I could say that the Cleveland Browns recycle head coaches like plastic bottles, because they do. Over or under for Josh McDaniels, 2.5 years, I wouldn't be shocked if it was under. Wouldn't be shocked. And if it's the over, then I definitely bet under 3.5 or 4.5. You got to give a coach some time. You can't just be firing head coaches every couple years and expect things to turn out all right. Look at the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be entering their 4th season with Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. You need to have that continuity in order to be successful. To even have a chance to be successful. Rather than cutting the rug, pulling the rug out from under them. Was Freddie Kitchens the right head coach for the Browns? Hell no. Should Freddie Kitchens have even been given that job? More hell no. But he was. And he was fired. Josh McDaniels, is he ready for a head coaching job? We don't know that. Was he ready the last time? No. Has he learned along the way? I'm sure he's learned a thing or two. But to say that this guy is the top head coaching candidate, for me, I think that just goes to show you that's like saying, you know, I'm trying to think of a year where, like, the Super Bowl champion wasn't really that great. Like, the 2000 Ravens. They had one of the best defenses in recent memory, but their offense was led by Trent Dilfer. I look at Josh McDaniels as that. Not Trent Dilfer, but in the sense that Josh McDaniels is not, he's not elite. He's not, I mean, the guy's coached Tom Brady. He went back to Brady. Brady's the best to ever do it. How much is this success in the career of Josh McDaniels? How much is it attributed to Brady? I'd say at least 80%. At least 80%. At least 75, at least 70, if I'm being, generous. Beyond Brady, what has McDaniels done? Not much. So when I look at McDaniels and to be honest, to consider him a top head coaching candidate, I just think that that's silly. I really do, and I think it shows you the strength or lack thereof with the head coaching list in the National Football League. You have, Jim Schwartz, who is set to be interviewing with some teams. I really feel like he deserves an opportunity. I feel like he has shown true results with players that are not big names, with players that don't have a ton of talent, whereas Josh McDaniels has been working with a ton of talent these last few seasons. And look at what happened when Gronk retired. Look at the creativity. It went completely out the window. So that's my opinion. That's the Thomas take, whether you like it or not. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Thomas Take for more episodes of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, more tweets, more takes, as well as Instagram at Ryan Thomas Take. Thanks so much for tuning in, and take care.